Welcome back, everyone. In the past weeks, I have talked about the ego, the persona, the shadow, and the anima and animus. And now we are ready for the end of our hero's inner journey. But this end is also the beginning, the past and the future, the light and the dark, the conscious and the unconscious. Let's find out what it is. Jung believed that only after acknowledging the persona and integrating the shadow and our anima or animus contents, we can access the deepest layer of the psyche, the archetype of wholeness, which Jung referred to as the self, like the ego in the center of consciousness and the shadow in the center of unconsciousness. The self is in the center of the whole psyche. But not only in the center, it is also the totality of it, meaning everything that is conscious and unconscious forms the self. The self is a personal experience of power that transcends the ego. There is a strange relation between the ego and the self. Many people confuse the self with the ego. When we say I, that is the ego, but the I tries to exclude many things. It says, I am this and not that because that's whom I want to associate it with. So the I is consciously and sometimes unconsciously is limiting itself, pushing the unwanted traits to the unconscious side, which forms the shadow. That is why the self archetype is beyond the limited I, meaning the ego. The self is an archetype that represents the unified consciousness and unconsciousness. In the intro, I have said that it is the past and the future. That is because the self is not only who we were in the past or who we are today, but also who we can become in the future, meaning it is the reality and undiscovered potential at the same time. So the self is something much bigger than the ego. Jung believed that man becomes a whole when and only the process of individuation is complete, when the conscious and the unconscious are at balance and peace. We can see similar processes of enlightenment described in many beliefs like the nirvana in Buddhism. Individuation means becoming a single homogeneous being, and insofar as the individuality embraces our innermost, last and incomparable uniqueness, it also implies becoming one's own self. We could therefore translate the individuation as self-realization. The self, like the other archetypes, also appears in dreams, myth, art, and religious stories, sometimes in the form of a hero, a prophet, or a savior. Jung himself saw the best representation of the self was Jesus Christ, because Christ is the symbol of an ideal man. Like the other archetypes mentioned in the previous episodes, the self is not just good or evil, it's both. The self is aware of its strengths and weaknesses, and accepts them and doesn't reject or repress them. That is what makes the self archetype a symbol of wholeness. Because someone good doesn't mean only good without evil, it means he is both and he knows it, but he chooses to be good consciously and voluntarily. Jung writes, the dark side of the self is the most dangerous thing of all. Precisely because the self is the greatest power in the psyche, it can cause people to spin megalomaniac or other delusionary fantasies that can catch up and possess them. A person in this state thinks with mounting excitement that he has grasped and solved the greatest cosmic riddles. He therefore loses all touch with human reality. Because every individual is unique, the process of individuation cannot be copied or forced. It's a process like the integration of the shadow. It must take its time. So this is the end of our series with the Jungian archetypes that forms the Jungian model of the psyche. I hope that this was useful for you. And thank you for watching.